Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we have a very special video comparison. We have a Orient Mako II and a Seiko 5 diver's watch, the new line of the Seiko 5, and we are gonna be checking which one is the best entry levels dives watch. This is gonna be my intake on these two watches, and I think this is gonna be a very interesting video. I have a review of every watch individually available on my channel. I just did the Orient Mako II, but I have the Seiko 5 already available if you want to check it out in depth, if you're interested in specific on one of these two watches. So let's get started. Now, before we start, if you saw my Orient Mako II, you probably are aware that this probably is my favorite watch in my entire collection. Still, even though I have more expensive watches than the Orient Mako II, but still, so I'm gonna try to be objective here. I'm trying to be partial because I really like this watch as well. So, well, and as well also because just so you are aware, I changed the bracelet on the Seiko 5 for a St. Martin bracelet. I'm gonna leave the description, the link to this bracelet in the description in case you want to have it. You can get it and adapt it to this watch. You'll only need to keep this part of the end link and it'll fit just fine on the St. Martin. It's some small adjustment you need to do to the bracelet to so you can use the original end link on the Seiko 5, but you can do that relatively easy. Now let's start with the case dimension of each one of these watches. This is 42.5 millimeter, if I'm not mistaken. Try to measure it this way. Oh, this is gonna be interesting to measure because how the case is, but yeah, pretty much 42.5, and in this case we have, I think, 41.5 or 42 millimeter. We would have a 42 millimeter pretty much. In the specs, I think I read this watch is 41.5, but let's say it's 42 millimeter. The lug width on both watches is 20 millimeter. 22 millimeter. This one, we have 22 millimeter on this one as well. And let's check the lug width, lug to lug width. This case we have 46.5. In this case we have, see, it's actually pretty much the same, 46.5, or a little bit less probably. Also, let's check case thickness. This is a very thick watch, at least visually. We have a 13.5 millimeter thickness, and on the Orient we have a 13 millimeter, so 5 millimeter less. But if you check it, the Seiko looks way thicker. It is a lot has to do with how that thickness is distributed. So in the case of the Seiko, they really didn't do a great job. The Seiko, it sits way higher on the wrist than the Orient Mako. In both cases, we have mineral crystal, which I really prefer on an entry-level diver's watch, especially if it's gonna be your daily beater. Better to have mineral. A lot of people will say they prefer sapphire. The thing here is that for me, I found the mineral crystal being better for two main reasons. The first one is used to have a way better anti-reflective treatment, so it reflects way less than a sapphire crystal. And the second reason is that the sapphire crystal, yes, it might be harder to scratch, but is easily to if you hit it directly, to break. So in this case, it's harder to break, some people say it's easier to scratch, but here this is also not a regular mineral crystal. In this case, for example, we have the Seiko special mineral crystal. I think it's called the harded. It's like with a special treatment that makes the mineral crystal harder to scratch, which it's, you know, not a biggie. As if you're comparing to sapphire crystals, I would prefer this ones, because I know it's gonna be harder to scratch as well. It's gonna be even harder to break. So just so you know, in both cases we have an in-house movement performing really well in between plus minus 3 to 5 seconds a day, depending on the case. So that's very nice. Also, just to mention, just so you know, the Orient brand is under the Seiko corporation, so Seiko owns Orient. So that's very nice in terms of brand quality. You'll have a very nice quality product here as well. Also, Seiko both have its own heritage. Yes, Seiko heritage might be better. You know, Seiko has really big history on watches. Not as big as Orient, I'm sorry, Orient not as big as Seiko, but it has its own heritage as well. It's a very well-known brand, which is very nice. On the case backs, I really prefer, gotta be honest, gotta go with the Seiko 5, although the Orient is really nice. You can see there's a detail there. On the Orient you can see the movement, which is very nice. I really like that. Even though the next point is gonna be very controversial, but having that open case back means we have 100 meters of water resistance on the Seiko versus 200 meters of water resistance on the Orient Mako. Hands down to the Orient, although 100 meters of water resistance is a lot, guys. I saw some of you commenting on the previous video that 100 meters of water resistance is not enough to even swim, and I was like, what? That's so funny, guys. I mean, 100 meters, you have like, okay, let's break this down a little bit real quick. 100 meters of water resistance doesn't mean that you can go 100 meters deep in the ocean and the watch to be fine. Yes, because of the change of water pressure, because of the movement you're doing when diving, probably the water resistance is gonna be less than what is in the case description. But first off, Seiko will, and always they tend to do the same, they under promise and over deliver. Okay, so let's suppose, because of the changes in pressure when you're descending, let's suppose you use this watch to dive. Let's suppose you will have 40 meters of water resistance. You have any idea how 40 meters, a 40 meter, like 40 meters is the limit in recreational diving. You'll need a special license in order to be allowed to descend deeper than 40 meters in the ocean. And if I encourage you, just go to Google and do a quick search for example 50-60 meters dive, and see how those divers look. They have special tanks, they have multiple tanks, they look like a monsters. Like 100 meter resistance, water resistance is a lot, guys. It's a lot. You may say, yeah, it doesn't have a push down, it doesn't have a screw down crown. Well, the fact that the crown is screwed or not doesn't define the water resistance of the watch. What defines the water resistance of the watch is the gasket the crown has. So if this watch doesn't have that crown, like there are watches that has screw down crown and the water resistance is way less. If you don't have the gasket properly set, the water resistance will be none. So yes, it's a plus to have the screw down crown because it gives you an extra protection, but that doesn't define the water resistance of the watch. And again, I like this watch better than this one, but I gotta be objective here and try to educate people in the meaning that 100 meters of water resistance is a lot. The fact that it doesn't have a screw down crown doesn't define anything. And in fact, I'm using this watch in the water way more than this one. No issues at all. Okay, so have that in count, guys. The fact that it has a screw down crown doesn't define the water resistance of a watch. So if you want to use this watch to swim, you're gonna be fine. If you want to use this watch for recreational dive, you're gonna be fine. You might say it doesn't have the Lume. There are a lot of modes available for this watch. You can swap the bezel easily, and also at 40 meters, that again is the limit for recreational diving, you're not gonna need that. Like, you're gonna need the Lume probably if you go down, I don't know, 70 meters deep in the ocean, and that's you. Trust me, if you're going deeper than 40 meters, you better not be wearing any watch, because you might want to be wearing a proper diving computer. Okay, so just chill about that, guys. So let's continue. The operation of the movement, I think it's a very interesting point here. For the Orient, you'll need to unlock the crown and then wind it, and then push to the first position to change the date, and push pull it out to the second position to change the hour. I like how easy operates on the Seiko way better, because you can wind it with the crown pushed down, and then you can just on the first position change the date, second position change the hour. So I like it better here. Here you would have 3 positions, one which is unscrewed to wind the watch, the second one to change the date, the third one to change the hour. So here you have only 2. I think simplifies a lot to operate the operational of the watch, which is very nice. The bezel action, I think, in both watches is good. On the Orient, it's harder to turn the bezel, probably because of the lack of use of the bezel in this case, but also because the bezel is thinner, which in fact I like because of the design. You'll need to put your nails in between these parts in order to make the bezel to turn. The clicking sound is nice though. There you go. And the alignment of the bezel is good as well. On the Seiko, I heard a lot of people saying that at times the bezel doesn't align properly. I think that's referring to older generations, but in this case the bezel turns easier, but also it's because of the thickness of the bezel and the grip that the bezel has compared to this one. Look at that, this one is smaller. In terms of the bracelet, again, in this case I just swapped the bracelet. In this case there are plenty bracelets available if you want to swap it out. I'm gonna change the watch so I can try each one on the wrist. Of course, the bracelet on this one is not the one that comes by default, but again, I try to do the reviews as I see the watches. If you want to see the stock bracelet, there are tons of reviews available right there. I'm trying to be, unique when doing reviews, so I can give you my point of view. And for me, this is the bracelet that goes with this watch. If you have this watch, if you're planning to buy this watch, add another 30-40 bucks in order to get this bracelet, because this is a must for me in order for this watch. It looks so well together. As you can see, I have a 6 1/4 inch wrist, and as you can see, the watch doesn't look that big. It it's a big watch, it's a diverse watch, which means you'll wear big, but probably because of the lug-to-lug width makes the watch look smaller than you would think. And having count, because how close I am to the camera, the watch tends to look bigger than my wrist. So if I have a, you know, try to put the watch to take it farther from the camera, the watch is gonna look smaller. But in this case, it doesn't look bad at all. I think I can use this watch just fine. Very nice watch, very nice, elegant watch. But for me, the versatility, the looking of the watch goes hands down to the Orient Mako II. For me at least, this watch is way more elegant, is way more subtle, looks like a, I don't know if that term exists, but for me it looks like a dress diver's watch. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the way it looks for me. Because of how the logo is, with that small tint of red, with that tint of red on the tip of the second hand, with that type of font family used that is like cursive, makes the watch look so elegant. Also the sunburst style, the aluminum tone that they pick for this watch, that is like a navy blue, I really like it, guys, in this color. I don't know, for me it looks so elegant, and I think you can use this watch for every occasion. Nowadays there's a lot of people using diver's watches with suit. I think if you're gonna use a diver's watch with a suit, I think this one would have no problems with it, because of how, probably, I don't know, there's something with the design that makes this watch look so elegant to me. Probably because of the thin bezel, how subtle the numbers on the bezel are, the color, the way the logo with the font looks. I don't know, for me it's very nice. Also, this watch looks smaller and thinner on the wrist. As you can see, if you compare that to the Seiko will look way more like a sports watch, which is fine as well, you know. But if I would wear a suit, I will have no issues wearing either one, especially nowadays. But the Orient is way more elegant. It's like a more versatile watch. Look how thin, the difference in thickness. This one is sitting higher for sure because of how my arm is, but even though, you can see how thick is the Seiko compared to the Orient. In terms of the Lume, guys, this is hands down to the Seiko. I'm gonna do a Lume test real quick so you can see, but also because of how big the hour indices are in the Seiko compared to the Orient, you will have more Lume paint here, and I think Seiko always will win in Lume when it comes to Lume. Yes, this one doesn't have the Lume pit, but you know, it's not a biggie, guys. It's hands down to the Seiko. It's not because of the position of the watch. Yes, this left side has more light, but as you can see, the Lume on the Orient isn't bad, but the Seiko is just superior. The Lume of the Seiko is just superior than probably any watch I own. Even on the most expensive ones, the Lume is always gonna be better on the Seiko. So let me know, guys, which one would you prefer? Would you prefer the Seiko heritage and the legendary look of the Seiko SKX series with their new Seiko 5 series? Would you prefer something more unique as the Orient Mako II? For me, my opinion is, if it's your first watch, if you're not that worried about the brand heritage and stuff, I would go hands down to the Orient. I think it's a way more versatile watch. I think you would have, for me, it still's my favorite watch because it combines, it's like you take a blend of all the legendary watches and you put it into this. Looks like a, somehow has, you know, touches of the Submariner, has touches of the Omega Seamaster, has touches of the Tudor Black Bay 58 because of the how the blue color, has touches of the Rolex Explorer. I don't know, it has pretty much what I like of every single watch. It's like if I would given the choice of design a watch, probably this is what I would come with. This is an amazing watch, guys. I really like the design of this one. This one is a great watch as well, but I would go with the Orient Mako II. Let me know in the commentaries section below what are your thoughts, if you prefer the Seiko, if you prefer this one, if you prefer another one such as the Citizen ProMaster. For me, the ProMaster, it's like, this is subtle, this is not as subtle, this is sportier, and this the Citizen Pro Diver is even more sportier. So I think those two are the options to go with. If you prefer a third one, let me know in the commentary section below. Don't forget to subscribe and hit that like button, and see you guys on the next one.